YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. Wanted to show you the leaderboard. You think this guy is happy? The patch cheese crying loser noobs. So, I don't know who this person is. Maybe they're putting a sarcastic name, but I'm going to guess there's about a 99% chance that this person has cheesed their way to the top of the leaderboard and isn't happy about something in the patch. But honestly, I don't know that this patch really changed anything about the cheese armies that people were bringing. It made Spirit Leech a little less strong, but it actually made some other cheesy armies a whole lot stronger. Speaking of cheesy armies that it made a whole lot stronger, let me show you one. You all have seen this before. Vampire Death Star. CA, why? Why did you make this stronger? I just want to show you all this this death. I know you've seen it, but let's just watch it in a practical application. You saw me testing it against the Black Orcs in the stream, and you saw it in patch 1. Well, what did they do in patch 2? Well, in patch 2, they actually made the regeneration even stronger for the Necromancer, I believe, and maybe even Von Karstein. I don't really remember exactly what it was, but they basically made the regen effect stronger. Now, this was pretty slick here. My opponent puts Net of Amontok on me. It's really a good way to kind of slow down my whole blob at once, so that was very nice. Nice use of the Light Wizard there. Honestly, though, probably the best thing to do is to just start hurling Shim's Burning Cheese into this blob as fast as you can and as frequently as you can. It'll probably do the most damage, so I used my Vargeist to ruin his cannon because he was getting some pretty good shots with it. Probably didn't even have to do that, but I did. He's using his Pistoliers and other units to bring down the Vargeist, obviously. Shouldn't be hard for him. A lot of my guys took some pretty good damage where he used that Net of Amontok and the cannons and everything. They took some pretty solid damage, but it's not a problem. My guys will be healed relatively easily here by the Invocation of Nehek. Their hit points will just start to jump faster than they will go down. So I mean, this Overcast Invocation of Nehek gives an increased area of effect, basically giving it an area of effect. I don't believe the Invocation of Nehek has an area of effect in and of itself. But you can see that it does a huge amount of healing. And then, of course, my Cairn Wraiths, as per usual, are ignoring like at least 75% of physical damage. And I think Cairn Wraiths actually got buffed in this patch too, so it makes this Death Star pretty strong. There comes the Shim's Burning Gaze. It went through some of his own men to get there. You can see these Empire guys got smeared. The Light Wizard's like, I didn't do that. But the Shim's Burning Gaze definitely laid down some punishing magical damage there, but it's just not enough. I've used Invocation of Nehek a couple of times. I can use it, almost twice more at this point. Definitely twice more if I look at my power reserves. Yeah. So I'm gonna use it again. He's gonna send. This is gonna be Karl Franz. Sorry, I'm going blank on his name. He sends Franz in here, but Franz can't really effectively get to Von Karstein or the Necromancer, and that's what makes this build so dangerous. I'm not even doing a great job of keeping Von Karstein in the middle of the blob, but I know the Necromancer, yeah, he's up in the middle of the blob, so it makes it extremely hard for a unit like Karl Franz, which would be able to take them out, but he starts taking so much armor-piercing damage, and then the poison attacks, it just really messes up. That's part of what makes this build so difficult to beat, is you can surround it, you can shoot it, you can do all kinds of stuff to it. It's just difficult to beat because of that healing effect. I did have a Black Coach, and oh, here it comes. Yeah, watch the Black Coach. This thing is just so worthless. I just brought it because I was already using a cheesy army, so I was like, well, I'll bring a really crappy unit to waste some of my spend rather than make this army even stronger. And I bring the Black Coach. Look, it gets caught by the Empire Knights. I don't even know if it gets a single kill. Oh, the Demigryph Knights. Yeah, so the Demigryph Knights and the Empire Knights just completely wrecked this thing. Look at the Black Coach, man. It's already like halfway dead. What a piece of crap. 2 kills. Like, I mean, it's supposed to be anti-infantry, granted, and it's going into cavalry, but still, I mean, this thing is so expensive, and it just is so weak, and then the recharge abilities on it are terrible. So, this is the end of the line for the Black Coach. Everybody off board. Look at the little Wraith who's driving. He's like, wow, this ride did not end well. He just comes out every now and then and makes his little attacks. It's really quite pathetic. The Black Coach needs some serious work. The cosmetics are there. Looks pretty cool, but cosmetics don't win battles. The Death Star wins battles, on the other hand. You can see these poor Empire saps getting tossed everywhere. My opponent was pretty good-spirited about this. He saw what I brought, and he's like, oh no, not the square. And he was asking me, like, do you find this fun to use? And I was like, no, I was just using this just to see if it worked. So, like I said, my opponent was very good-spirited about this. I appreciate him being that way. And he had some trouble picking the faction he wanted. Like, something was glitched out and it wasn't working. So he didn't exactly get to pick what he wanted. But like I said, he took this all in good spirit and chatted with me. And I appreciate that from him because this army is honestly pretty cheese-tacular. And some of you said, got on to me for saying it was cheesy. Let me explain cheesy, since I've used the word here, and I know people are going to be upset with me using the word. It's cheesy in the fact that it abuses an already overpowerful regeneration mechanic. It is quite clever in the fact that it combines the armor piercing with the poison attacks and all the other stuff. And once again, I would say it's quite cheesy in the sense that there's no real strategic nature to it. You just hammer it right into the front of the enemies and let it absorb all the stuff. But was it a clever build that someone put together originally and when I showed it? Yes, absolutely. And I'm not trying to take that away from the person who built this. When I say something's cheesy, I'm just saying that it's made to kind of abuse certain benefits, and it doesn't take, like, it's way easier for me to control this army than it is for someone to defeat it, if that makes sense. I've just got my guys hard grouped, and all I have to do is just sling them around into combat hard grouped like this, and they do just fine. So that's what I mean whenever I say it's cheesy, in the sense that it's easy to use and easy to win with. And anyway, I'm guessing that's, I don't know why that guy on the leaderboard had the crying loser noob's name. Well, actually I do. It's because he's probably cheesed his way to near the top there. So, any case, whatever. I don't care about the leaderboard. I just play for fun. And in this case, like I said, just kind of showing off this army with the blood mod, which it does look pretty cool. Those Cryptors are just brutal. Absolutely brutal. We killed the light wizard, so there's really not much left that the enemy can do here. I had, I think, one invocation of Nehek left, but didn't end up needing it. So, Vampire Death Star, very much alive. Very much alive. My opponent probably did not expect this. He obviously could have built a tougher army. But, I mean, even if you brought, like, a definite counter to this, like, let's just go give an example real quick. So, if I were to get, let's go into the custom battle, and I'm going to pick the vampires. And let's say that, for instance, I get von Karstein here. I put him on his Barded Nightmare, and let me just put a Wraith and a Cryptor around him just as an example. I'm going to... Actually, I need to be the Empire. Sorry. Let me flip this over. Vampire counts. This isn't going to work real well because the AI is probably not going to cooperate. But we'll see if I can at least try and set up the scenario that I'm trying to explain to you. And let's say that I set up a best case scenario over here with the Empire where I've brought like a whole bunch of light wizards on a Pegasus. And let's just see, and obviously the AI is not going to use the invocation of Nehek. They won't. So this is just more of a demonstration of, can Shim's Burning Gaze, like if you were expecting the Vampire Death Star, could you counter it? I think so if you brought enough magic. The problem is that eventually you just run out of mana. So the question is, would you be able to pick off the Necromancer or the von Karstein fast enough so that the damage would be done? If you can get rid of them, you should be able... Wow, it started me with almost no magic here. That's definitely going to screw up this test. Let's concede defeat and try a rematch. See if it'll start me off with more magic. Because I'm going to need more magic to kind of demonstrate like a best case scenario of if you had a good magic reserve when you started and you could fire multiple Shim's Burning Gaze. Could you kill von Karstein fast enough? Really? Come on. Let's concede defeat in the battle and then just load back in and see if it gives me a better magic reserve. It's kind of weird how that's random going into multiplayer battles. Like, so as you go into these multiplayer battles, the winds of magic are random. And I want to say it can be different for each player, though I could be wrong. So it is an odd factor that comes in there, but I mean, okay, whatever. It's just going to give me 10. So I guess I'm just going to have to live with it. Let's pull these guys back here for a minute, start the battle. And I can't, all my stuff has to cool down, so I'm going to have to fast forward for a second. So give me just a second. Kind of annoying, but the computer wasn't wanting to cooperate with me here. Alright, this will actually be a pretty good demonstration, I think. I'm going to get all these guys, and I'm going to cast a Shim's Burning Gaze at Manfred von Karstein. Now, there we go. So 3 Shim's Burning Gaze. I mean, it can do a lot of damage really quick, but at this point, Invocation of Nehek would be casted. Now, if you had a full mana pool there, it's possible that, you know, you might have been able to pull this off. And right there, that was kind of an exploit you all saw there. But I mean, so you could potentially pick off von Karstein pretty quick, but it would take multiple light wizards. And that would be the best way to counter that, because as soon as you get rid of von Karstein, the Vampire Army is going to suffer a lot, or the Necromancer. You have to pick off one or the other. And once you get rid of one of them, a lot of the regeneration of units starts to go away. And you can see that obviously it would have a big effect. But it would take multiple light wizards on a Pegasus, which are very expensive. And if your little plan here didn't work, they're going to do you very little good when it comes to actually doing damage to these vampire units. But I mean, you can see that the magical damage and stuff is good versus the wraiths and the other units that are here too. These guys are actually crumbling now, so you can actually get them to start falling apart as opposed to something else. But yeah, anyway, that's one way you can try and counter it. You're gonna have to do like an instant Lord Snipe, basically. It would have to be very quick. You would need enough mana, I think, ready so that you could have 2 or 3 light wizards casting Shim's Burning Gaze over and over again. So that's going to be the best way. And if you can kill one of those vampire lords, you'll probably make that thing fall apart. So all your mana would have to be used on Shim's Burning Gaze. And I think Shim's Burning Gaze would be probably the best magic missile spell to use against them. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. What do you all think? What do you think would be the quickest way to annihilate a vampire lord in that Death Star? I've heard a lot of ideas. Some of them I think might work, some I don't. Personally, I think Shim's Burning Gaze is your best and only chance in terms of trying to do it. Now, of course, that situation right there was not ideal because I can't make the AI make a Death Star, so it might be something that someone needs to test. And if you get a replay where you all tested it, send it to me and we'll show it. Anyway, HeirofCarthage signing out. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you all again soon with more online battles.